Lots of breweries these days are starting with syrups. We don't think that's the way to go. We get malt from all over, from Germany, from the Midwest, from England, lots of places depending on what beers we're going to brew. It all starts back in the hallway back here. We have a grain mill. We'll bring in the big bags of grain, crush the husk, it'll throw it to a hopper, which will then dump into the mash tun, which is this vessel right here. Basically what we're doing is boiling off the fermentable sugars, as we all know. Depending on the beer we're going to brew, it decides what our grain bill is. Anything from something really light, like little carafils, to something medium like caramel malt, to something dark like a chocolate malt. And the grain bill is totally dependent on what we're going to brew. Brian's really particular about stuff and has crazy amounts of recipes and things that he follows. So we'll go from here in the mash tun to the kettle, and here we will add more water to the wort, as well as whatever hop additions we're going to do. Most of our beers have multiple hop additions at different times, different temperatures, again based on what recipe and what beer we're going for. If we're doing something crazy, big IPA, hot zombie, something like that, there will be many, many hop additions at lots of different points throughout the boil. From here, and we're just doing the basics here. Here we'll transfer out of the bottom of this vessel into one of the fermenters. These are jacketed, totally temperature controlled, which is great. That way we can do ales or lagers. 95% of what we do is ales, because we just don't really have time to do lagers or the space. So we'll go from here. We will add yeast. Right now we get yeast from, we have our own house yeast. We also share yeast with some of the other breweries in town. When somebody gets a good yeast strain going, we can get 6, 7 uses out of a yeast before we want to repropagate. So they'll either get yeast from us, we get yeast from them. Right now, 512 in the local breweries is a great hepatitis and yeast going, so we use that when we brew our wit. We're going to do, like we just brewed a steam beer. We got the lager yeast from out of England, which is kind of cool. So we'll go from here. We'll add the yeast to the words. Depending on what we're doing, we'll adjust the temperature. The fact that these are jacketed is kind of cool. If you have a yeast that's a slow starter, you can ramp up the temperature a little bit and get it going a little faster. Or if you have one that's just going crazy, you can shut it off. Whereas if you can't really control the temperature, which I've worked in a couple of breweries where you can't, it'll totally, sometimes fluctuate, make your beer fluctuate a little bit because you can't control the temperature. So from here, we will transfer to the cold room via one of these big red hoses and through the pump station. There's a couple of pumps under here that we have 1, 2, and 3. We can transfer from station to station, from here to here, or from here through the back wall into the cold room, which is where we'll go next.
Alright.
I'm giving you guys the whirlwind, I hope you don't mind. I figured you guys know something about beers.
Yeah.
And this is the back hallway, which isn't very photogenic right now because Brian's been on vacation and we got a lot of stuff going on. This is the little mill that we use, and it'll dump into this hopper. Not a whole lot to see, but this is the cold room. So we have 6 10-barrel serving tanks that we use. This is everything that's on tap at the bar. And then we have 2 old school Grundys, old dairy tanks that we use for cold storage. And every so often when we have a 7th beer on tap, we'll serve out of one of these tanks. Which right now we have the anniversary of serving out of one of these tanks. So basically things that get transferred into these tanks, we'll force carbonate. See if I have a hose do out of this room is we'll do 6 other guest beers, which are all local Texas, mostly Central Texas, but we can branch out Houston, Conroe, some places like that. Every once in a while Dallas, that will serve out kegs. So that is our tiny little 10-barrel brewery.
All right.
But I think we create some of the best beer in Austin, if not Texas now. So it's not about the brewery, it's about the brewer. Ours is kind of small, rinky-dink, but we've got one of the best brewers in the state. So
I'm looking forward to tasting the beers
Yeah.
next.
let's do it. There's some great stuff on right now for sure.